Guilty Gearhead said a little bit ago, tried to go back to Other M. I could barely get past the beginning. You know what? I've actually never played it. I've watched playthroughs of it, and despite my issues with the stories, it looks like it still would be fun to play, and I would like to just take a playthrough on it one day, but I don't have it. I'm not going to go out and buy a Wii just so I could get one game that everybody panned, but I would like to give it a shot one day. Hopefully they port it to the Switch and I can mess with it
could
there.
be in the Switch store. They've ported a bunch of Wii and 64 games to it.
Yeah, I think they might have. I mean, the Switch should be able to do it with the Joy Cons, but I guess they had a funky control system on that. But I'd be willing to give it a shot. It might still be a fun game to play. But that's another series right there that merges magic and technology, especially with the Chozo systems. They actually merge their technology with their spirituality in a lot of cases.
I always enjoyed the story to the second Prime game. That was my personal favorite story out of the series.
With the Luminoth and Dark Aether?
Yeah. Echoes has a really dark story if you pay attention to what's going on, especially at the beginning. The Luminoth, whenever you first come across them and you're kind of introduced more to the Ing, the villainous aliens of that game, the Luminoth have pretty well been reduced to basically just a dome of people, and they're all hibernating in one last desperate attempt to just go out while asleep. So it gets really dark. It's implied that there's only about a couple hundred of them left whenever you finally intervene.
Yeah, and I was actually listening to somebody point out some differences between Prime 1 and Prime 2. Like in Prime 1, the Chozo on Talon 4, they are long gone. You find remnants of their buildings and stuff, but you don't find any remains of them. However, with the Luminoth on Aether, they're a species on the verge of extinction. And when you go across the world, you're finding bodies everywhere. It's all about the environmental storytelling. With the Chozo, they're long gone. You don't even know. Did they die off? Were there some left? Did they just leave? Did they ascend or something? We don't know. With Luminoth, we see them struggling and dying.
It's also
and the same with the Federation troops that get killed off and then their bodies reanimated. It's a lousy weekend.
It's also a case of how setting up a proper villain and proper stakes can really prop up your hero all the same. Because Samus doesn't say a word that whole game. It's just like little gestures every here and there, like at the very beginning and at the very end.
Yeah,
but
she
by
gives
the
a
end,
wave.
It still feels like she's super powerful, partly because you played as her, but also just how calmly she just saves an entire species.
Yeah, well, she's probably feeling. Actually, she wouldn't be feeling a little guilt from wiping out a species as of yet, because that's before this all happens, before Metroid 2.
Yeah.
I haven't played the second Metroid myself. I don't know too much about what happens in the story around there. I know there's the baby, but aside from that, I'm trying to remember what else there is. Samus is exterminating all of the Metroids. I think that's right.
Yeah, well, the Metroids were actually genetically created, bioengineered by the Chozo to counteract the X parasite. However, the Metroids became a touch much, and they also other things. The Toha tribe could actually something in their genes. It made them more docile, and they could control and train the Metroids. But the Malkin tribe, they were the warrior tribe, and they deliberately made the Metroids so they would be hostile toward them because they didn't want the people who were always looking for a fight to control these Metroids. It's a bad combination. But what happened is they got out of hand, and everybody had to get off the planet pretty much because of it. Actually, that's not why they got off the planet. What happened is the two tribes The Malkins decided to just overrun the Toha, wipe them all out, save one named Quiet Robe, and they took him with because he was the guy that controlled the Metroids for them. The leader of the Malkins wanted to use them to pretty much control the galaxy, which is very different from the rest of the Chozo tribes throughout the galaxy. They were all very peaceful. But what happened is she was sent to Zebes to wipe out the Metroids, and in doing so, there was one egg left, and she just couldn't do it, the last one of the species. So she spared that baby Metroid. That baby imprinted on her and actually kind of attached to her. And so she left. And that's when the X-Parasites started going rampant, and that became a separate problem. But then there's a whole lot more to the story. I'm not going to go over the whole Metroid story right here right now. I realize I'm rambling about it, and I can go on all night if you let me. I'm a bit of a nerd with that game.
That leads pretty well straight into Super Metroid, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And Ultra
You're
Super
baiting
Metroid.
me. I almost took that bait.